Welcome to the Heirloom Recipe Project, the show that fills your cookbook with family favorite recipes handed down through generations. On this week's episode, I have my own family member stopping by, and I get the pleasure of receiving my very own heirloom recipe as I learn how to bake my great-grandma Alma's kolaches and see the crazy amount of work she put into them. Welcome to the Heirloom Recipe Project. I'm here with Janelle tonight. Thank you, Janelle, for joining me.
You're welcome.
So this is a particularly special evening for me because I get to learn an heirloom recipe. This is actually a recipe that I've wanted to learn since I was a little girl because it's one of my great-grandmother's famous recipes. It's been passed down through generations, and Janelle and I are related in some big fancy way that I can never quite articulate. So she's actually showing me my great-grandmother's recipe. Or one of them, I should say.
I've got quite a few, but I do have your great-grandmother's, who is my great-aunt. Her name was Alma. Mm-hmm. We called her Aunt Alma. And I have, in someone's handwriting, I'm not sure it's hers, but okay. I know it's not mine and it's not my mother's. It says Aunt Alma's famous kolaches.
Great.
Yeah, so we're going to do those. And tonight I brought the dough already made.
Okay.
Because we've got a lot of downtime with dough. And we're going to do, traditionally you do cherry filling, apricot, prune, and I'd say poppy seed. Yeah. And also what they call cheese filling, which is kind of like more like a sweet ricotta cheese, what we would think of that, but it'd be like a country cheese, and then but I didn't do those tonight.
Nice. So from start to end, how long does this full process normally take?
Well, I think I'd probably divide it into sections. But to answer your question, probably you're going to look at over a period of 3 hours.
Wow.
But, there's downtime. It's
right.
not, I can go and do other things.
Right.
You're not going to sit there and watch the dough rise.
Okay.
Or probably not.
Yeah, exactly. Well, great.
Yeah.
So the next thing is to cut it up and roll all of the dough balls out?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Well, which I'll teach you tonight.
Okay, I can't wait. Let's get started.
All right.
So what all is in this kolach dough recipe?
Well, this is it says 13 ounce, but the current can is 14 ounce.
Okay.
Of carnation sweetened condensed milk, a half cup of milk, 3/4 cup of butter, that would be melted, 3/4 teaspoon of salt, 3 eggs, and it says 1 large cake of fresh yeast, but I use, or 2 packages. So I use dry yeast.
Okay.
And I use quick rise yeast because it works faster. Okay, and then about 4 to 5 cups of flour. And what I do to tell if there's enough flour, and I use a mixer with dough hooks.
Sure.
Which saves a lot of time. Otherwise, it's a lot of work to mix that dough.
Yeah.
However, I think it's really good for,
upper body strength.
That's probably why your great-grandmother and my
right.
aunt had great arms, and they didn't have those wobbly arms.
Okay.
But the way that I tell that there's enough flour in it, and it's right, it should be a soft dough, but if you put the back of your hand to it and it doesn't stick.
Oh, wow.
Otherwise, if it's too sticky, it'll stick to your hand.
Yeah, so that's
and
the
if it doesn't stick, that's the test I use, and it works well.
Okay, so you just keep adding a little bit until it doesn't stick.
And the dough hooks are great because most people now probably have some dough hooks, and that saves a lot of time.
Okay.
So we modernize things, and I think they
did
would
they
have
write down these tricks anywhere on the cards?
No.
Okay.
No. But I'll write it on your card when I make you a copy. How's that?
Okay, perfect.
I think I'll do it this way, and then on the back I'll put PS.
Yeah, use hand to test.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, but that is a good test to know that the dough is right.
Yeah,
and it's not
absolutely.
When I first tried doing these by myself, I had it so stiff. It was like, and then I realized that no, you don't need that much flour in it. So that's a good test.
Yeah, perfect. So now we're at the really exciting point where we get to start rolling these out. Okay. Now tell me about the special technique.
Okay. Well, the special technique, I've been told I'm quite good at it.
Great.
Okay.
We're with the pro.
Yeah. So you're gonna lightly.
Okay.
A little too much. Lightly flour the surface. I just do it right on the countertop. It's best.
All right.
And the dough is now double in size.
Now, how long has the dough been raising for?
Well, I did a refrigerator dough, so it's easier that way. You can do it the night before, put it in the refrigerator overnight, and it's half the size, and by morning it filled this bowl. And this is my husband's great aunt's bowl. So I like to use it because it's the right size. But you could use probably.
It also has a great story.
It has a good story, so I'm very careful with it. But it's Aunt May's bowl. So anyway, the dough's double in size. So now it's ready to do the first stage.
Okay.
So we're going to. I'll show you what we're going to do.
Okay.
I usually put it all out on the counter. So
right.
let's just do it. Let's see. Hope it comes out. Maybe we'll encourage it.
This is one of those recipes you're really going to get dirty making.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Usually I have flour all over me.
Okay.
Or dough, and sometimes.
And the counter.
Oh yeah, and the floor, but Anyway, so the bowl has been greased, but it comes out. Comes out pretty well. So then I'm going to take a little bit of flour, put it over it.
Okay.
Just so it doesn't stick to me and everything else. And then I'm going to not work it too much, but I'm going to cut it into kind of, what do I want to say? Just, pieces, I guess.
Okay.
And the trick is, my grandmother was really good at this.
Wisdom from Grandma.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have to judge volume. It's like, okay, you want them to be the same size.
Judge volume.
Yes, the same size.
Okay.
If they're not the same size, they're not going to bake properly.
Okay.
Right? Or at the same level, or some are going to burn, that old story. So,
sure.
Okay, so now, this is the technique. Okay. Are you ready?
Do you have to flour your hands?
Oh, I think it's a good idea.
Okay.
Just
all right.
slightly. Okay.
Okay.
So then what you're going to do is you're going to hold it in one hand. Are you right-handed?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Okay, I'll take one.
Okay. Okay. And what you're going to do is you're going to use your thumb and roll it because you don't want any creases in that ball.
Okay.
So you're going to roll it as you turn it.
Okay.
And you pivot. You got it?
Sure.
No, your thumb's not. See, you want to.
Oh, more thumb?
More thumb.
Okay.
Yeah, more thumb. Okay.
It's like tucking your.
Like this. See, I'm doing this with my thumb.
Oh no.
You got it.
I don't know about this.
Yeah, I think it's looking pretty. Let's see.
Okay. Oh, I did that
you got a
though.
crease. Okay.
Okay, so
but
no
if you have a
creases.
crease, sometimes I hide it on the bottom.
Okay. That's a good trick too. That's some good wisdom to hand down.
Yeah. There you go.
Oh, that's really perfect.
Pretty good,
how long have you been rolling these kolaches
decades.
out for? Okay.
You want to know how old I am? Is that what you're asking?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Can you guesstimate how many kolaches that you've made in your lifetime?
Oh my gosh.
I'll just work on the same
No.
one.
Come on, you're.
So your grandmother taught you how to do this technique?
Actually, no. My mother and my aunts and cousins, because we.
I'll put the ugly ones over here.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Well, that's not. I think you have promise.
Okay. Thanks.
We had what we called kolach college. Mm-hmm. And at kolach college, you learn the technique. And everybody brings their own recipe. And so we learned the art of, rolling.
I keep sticking my thumb out.
Yeah,
That's
don't
the
see it.
issue.
You kind of bring it in. Like, look at this.
Okay.
Okay, you got that?
Okay. So you bring it
Kind
in.
of, and you just.
I couldn't be worse at this. Okay, so tell me more about Kolach College. Who held it? Where was this
We had it.
amazing college held
Well,
it?
we've done it a couple times.
Okay.
The most recent time was at my cousin's home.
Uh-huh.
And there were, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 4 first-generation kolach makers.
Wow.
The pros.
Yeah.
And they all brought their own recipes.
Yeah.
And there were some of the eyebrows like, that's not how I do it.
Because everybody does it
A
a little differently.
disagreement.
And no one quite does it.
No, quite the same. So how you doing?
Well,
are you on number 2?
I'm on number 2.
Okay.
Well, and I'm mostly just hiding
we could be at this all
hiding
day
the sins. I'll just keep lining up the really bad ones over there. I mean, at the end of the day,
it's going to be okay.
They all taste the same, right?
Well, yeah,
I
think so. That's our premise. Yeah.
Now, tell me about this. Looks really old too.
It is old. Yeah, it was my mother's spatula, and I don't know. I just love it because it's really good for everything. It's flexible and it cuts but it doesn't cut through the counter.
Perfect.
And it's good for taking off. It's just good for everything.
Let me ask a technical question about this. If you use your thumb, do you turn them?
I turn the whole thing
Clockwise.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Am I going clockwise?
I mean, I've never. Okay.
I don't know. What you tell me? Am I going clockwise?
Yeah.
And they should be about the size of, they keep saying a large walnut. That's every recipe card that I have says
a large walnut. Okay.
Yeah.
So you have to familiarize yourself with the
walnut.
forest as well as baking.
You have to be a naturalist.
Okay.
Okay.
So how many kolaches will this huge ball of dough make us?
Oh, well, I'm thinking maybe 6 dozen.
Wow, really?
We have a lot to eat.
Okay. And from a big Czech family, that's probably good. Like
that's true.
This
menu. They go fast. But really they're best just the first day. So, I mean, that's my opinion.
Like you have to eat them within the first day of baking them?
Well, that's when they taste the best. But it's interesting because we were just recently in the Czech Republic, and we were looking for kolaches, because
how'd that go?
Of course,
right? Research.
Well, we were disappointed. We think ours are better.
Yeah. Which of the recipes? One of the 5 recipes.
Yeah, one of the 5. Well, any of them. I mean, they were and maybe it's because we were going to more commercial places. But they were kind of tough. They just weren't good, like church lady kolaches.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Are we on tray 2?
I think so. I'm on number 3. All right, so we rolled out a bunch of the kolaches. What's our next step?
Our next step is these kolaches are going to have to rise.
Okay.
And then, and so that's going to take a little while. And it depends on the warmth of the oven. Back when my grandmother was probably doing this, they had a wood stove and it was very warm, that sort of thing. So now we kind of set the stage, pre-warm the oven to maybe 100 degrees.
Okay.
Or so. Just if you have a proof setting on an oven, you can set it at proofing.
Oh, nice.
And do it. But you want to, if you do have a proof setting, you always put water in the oven because otherwise it'll dry them out. I've had that happen.
Okay.
But what we'll do before that is we're going to brush the tops of them with butter.
Great.
Okay? And
yeah, tell me about this brush.
Well, this is kind of fun. This is called perotka. I don't speak Czech at all, but I do know the name of this. And it's a pastry brush, and this happens to be my grandmother's.
Wow.
And she would make these, and it's very traditional, from goose feathers. And they had to be the right goose feather, and it had to curve the right direction. You can see the curve of the
And
goose
what is
feather.
this? What is the base made from?
The feathers came from the wing, like this part of the wing, because they're shorter and fuller.
Okay.
And
better for holding butter?
I guess so.
Okay.
And flexible. This one is a little worn. I mean, it's old, but
Sure.
And she taught me to do this. There's a string, and you just start. It's braiding it basically. You weave, or you weave it, I guess. You weave the feathers together with the string to form the handle, and then tie it off down here, bind it, and tie it.
Yeah.
And of course they're
go.
washed and cleaned and everything. And this one is probably 50 years old.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and it still works.
Wow, that's
so,
awesome.
Yeah. Actually, I had some of her feathers left over that she hadn't turned into brushes, and so I made them for my kids last year for Christmas.
So
they each
nice.
So it's kind of fun.
How do I get on that invite list?
Well, I might have to. You have to find the geese
now I have
first.
to make,
you can go down to Cedar Lake and catch them or something. I don't know. Anyway, so you just butter those.
Okay.
So they're nice and soft.
Nice.
And they don't dry out. When we're going to let them raise.
They look beautiful already.
Yeah, and see, yours look great too.
Yeah. You can barely
See?
tell which ones aren't the messed up ones.
No problem. They're going to look great, and they're going to taste great too.
Yeah. And what are we going to fill these with today?
Well, I brought cherry, traditional, cherry, apricot, and prune. I did not, poppy seed would be very traditional.
Yeah.
But I didn't bring that tonight. It's hard to find.
Okay.
So,
I think these sound delicious anyway.
Okay, they'll be good. They'll be good. Okay, so we'll put these in the oven.
All right.
All right. So we'll put those in there and maybe half an hour to an hour.
We'll look at them.
We'll look at them.
Awesome. Welcome back to the Heirloom Recipe Project. Janelle, we're on one of many steps here. What step are we on right now?
Well, we just peeked at the little round balls of dough in the oven on the tray, and they've doubled in size.
Okay.
So we're ready for the next step, which is going to be forming the little concave centers and filling them with filling.
Perfect.
And then they're going to have to rise again.
All right. Let's go.
All right. I think you did very well, Laura.
Oh, I don't know. Okay. Well, thanks.
All right. Well, normally I would probably only put about 12 on a tray, but we had so that's okay. So they may meet each other, but that's all right.
Okay.
Okay. So now what we're going to do is you reach into the center of each one, and you're going to pull it, and you don't want to break through the bottom, but you want it to be sort of thin on the bottom, and you're just going to pull them apart like this.
Okay.
Reach in and pull them apart like this. Whoops. Sometimes they pop off the tray. Because they're well greased. All right. So they'll pull apart, and they tend to, it's a little elastic, so it's going to pull back together, but that's okay.
Okay.
So then we're going to fill them. And if they go back too much, just pull them out again.
Is there any special technique to this that you learned from growing up and cooking with your family?
I think my mother just always said she didn't want them really thick in the center. There's a lot of dough, but yet you don't want to break through, so it's that fine line.
Sure.
So, okay. Thin, but not too thin. So, and you don't want to really work it too much, or they'll,
They kind of deflate when you do it,
They do,
too,
because
right?
they've risen, and now you're popping
Deflating
them back
them
down
again?
again. Yeah.
Okay.
It'd be nice to be able to do it in one step, wouldn't it? But
What would we do with all the hours?
I know.
Today?
That's right.
We have so much time on our
we
hands.
just kind of sit in the kitchen and wait.
Yeah. So when you were making these growing up, what did you guys do in the downtime? I imagine all of you making these together as a family and then having a few hours to hang out.
You know what? I'm trying to think. What did we do? I think, when you get together with when we got together for Kolach College, we'd just visit with each other. Or sometimes we'd have lunch in between, or coffee.
Yeah.
And probably lunch, and just kind of talk, and maybe we'd share stories. But that was more of a gathering rather than, baking for functional baking.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think that I've probably ever done it as a functional kind of thing. It's more of entertainment.
Yeah.
And to give away and for fun. So it's fun to do it with somebody else, really.
Right.
Just like it's fun to give them away.
Like baking all those Christmas cookies and then giving them away so you don't eat all of them.
I remember my mom having tables full of cookies and candy, and I think, who ate all of that? I guess it's
You.
like, yeah, I did. I love to decorate cookies. I was like, okay, so this is what we're gonna do now.
Okay.
I'll put one. You want to
Sure.
do cherry?
Yeah.
That's your favorite.
Yep, I'd love to.
So I just like to do a bigger spoonful and then
Okay.
maybe 3 to 4 cherries.
Okay.
That's just about right. So whatever works.
That's a good
is fine.
estimate.
Yeah, it helps to have an estimate. So,
Okay.
so I'm going to put it in the center like this. And then these, we're going to let these all, they're going to have to rise again.
Wow. Okay.
Yes. So,
Did you bake a lot growing up?
yes. It seems, I look at my mother's recipe box now and her recipes from her. It seems like baking was kind of our favorite thing.
Yeah.
It's amazing that we didn't weigh 300 pounds, but
Yeah.
I think so. Baking pies and cakes, and she's not a bread maker. My mother will be 98, so she's still around. Not baking, but she does have her opinions. She comes over and supervises. So.
Oh, sure. She lends some expertise.
Yes, she does. Or opinion, or both.
Wisdom.
Yeah.
And then do you cook with your children? Have you cooked and baked with your children and passed these down?
Our
generations?
children are, I think they're real foodies. They like good food, and they all like to cook.
Yeah.
All of them. It's sort of fun to see it all happen, even though you didn't intend it, but
Right.
they were always helping or observing.
And then do you cook with your grandchildren now?
Yeah. Oh, they love cookies, mainly.
Yeah.
And I try to stage it because it can be kind of a mess, but they love it. Yeah, I guess I'll finish off this one.
I made a lot of the cherry
Yeah,
ones.
I noticed that. Okay, that's all right. There we go.
So now have you passed this recipe down, or your mom's recipe, great-grandma's recipe,
Yeah.
down to any of your children or grandchildren yet?
No, actually. Well, they know I have it. And our daughter has been, because our son, we have a daughter and 2 sons. And when we last did kolach college, the 2 boys weren't in town.
Oh.
So our daughter was there.
Yeah.
So she's experienced it. And my sister's visiting now at Christmas, so she's never done it.
Wow.
Well,
So now
So
it's
she
time
wants to, so it's time. So we're
It's
going
time
to
to
do
do
it when
it
she
there.
comes back.
Great.
She and her daughter and her son.
Yeah.
And then our kids too. So it'll be fun.
Oh, that'll be great.
Yeah, yeah.
Good. Well, what do we do next? So we put these back in.
Now we
and they
have
rise
to let
again.
them. We have to let them rise again.
Okay.
And this won't take as long because they're maybe 20 minutes
In the oven?
Yeah. No, proofing, not hot, but
Nope,
they're going
just in
to
the
just
proof
warm.
setting.
Yeah. Again,
Okay.
and what they used to do, and I've still done this. If it's a warm day and the kitchen's warm, or you have a warm window, sun coming in,
Yeah.
you can actually, you don't have to put these in an oven.
Oh,
to rise.
okay.
You can use a warm spot.
Yeah.
If you have, but you just don't want them to dry out.
Okay.
So it's a fine line between having them rise and doing it quick enough, but so they don't dry.
Yeah. What's your trick for making sure they don't dry out? You said something before about like water in the oven.
If I have an oven that has a proof setting, a bread proofing, so, and it's about 100 degrees, I think. And what you're supposed to do is put I use like a pie tin in the bottom of it
sure.
with a couple cups of boiling water.
Okay.
I did it one time and it was just plain water. I thought, oh, that'll be enough, but it
Yeah.
didn't do it. It said boiling water.
Okay.
Then I read the directions, proofing it.
You live in your
But that kept the moisture in them, and
Okay.
they also rose quickly.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Nice.
so we're going to put these back in.
Okay.
And in a few minutes, I think, it probably maybe 15 minutes or
Yeah.
so, we'll clean up and do some other things, and
Great.
we'll see
On
what
to
we
the
have.
next
Then we
step,
can
I
bake them
guess.
finally.
Yeah. Welcome back to the Heirloom Recipe Project. Ooh. Okay, so we just pulled these out of the oven.
They were approved. And now we have turned the oven up to 400 degrees.
Okay.
And we're going to bake them.
We're ready?
We're ready to bake them for about 10 minutes.
Okay.
And we'll see if they're kind of golden brown.
Sure.
And 10 to 12 minutes.
Okay.
But hot oven, and that's where you get that nice
Oh, yeah, the nice golden brown bottom.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Perfect. Let's
All
do
right.
it. Final
Okay,
step.
Let's do it, and then we can eat them.
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
the best part.
Okay.
Okay, so this is after hours and hours of work. And this is
Days.
The days. And this is the beautiful final product. I'm so excited to try them.
Which one are you going to try?
Cherry. What's your favorite kind?
Well, I think I'm biased toward prune.
Okay.
But, you know, they really do get in your teeth. I mean, poppy seed is the worst, but we don't have poppy seed tonight. But a true Czech always has poppy seed in their teeth.
Oh, okay. That's a good measure. All right.
Okay. Go ahead, Laura.
And you say, well, you have to grab one too.
All right.
So you said these are best, like when they're fresh, right within the first day?
I'm sort of, biased toward eating them fresh the first day. So because it makes so many, you'll get, I would say 5 or 6 dozen. You need to really share them. So I think you have to share kolaches. So it's perfect to give them out to people and, eat a few yourself. My mother always liked them the next day, but what she would do is, of course, cover them with plastic or wax paper and then put butter on the bottom.
Oh.
And then put them on a skillet and just sort of warm them, and that sort of revives them. Which reminds me of something else.
Okay.
One thing that my mother always does when she sees kolaches is she picks them up and looks at the bottom.
Oh.
The bottom has to be golden brown.
And that's how you can tell?
Well, so many you get, and they're sort of pathetically pale.
Yeah.
And not baked enough.
No.
You want a nice brown bottom.
So now let's say I mess them up and they have a wrinkle somewhere. Is that also like, are you going to find that when we get the ones that I messed up earlier?
Well, not if, you can hide it on the bottom.
Okay.
It might not be bad. In fact, here's one. Okay, look at this. This is not a
check all of
okay.
them.
This is not the perfect clutch. You see the wrinkles.
Oh, sure.
But you know what?
They
all
what?
taste
It's
good.
one, right?
They all taste good. Yeah.
They all do taste great. I love them. I like that the dough is even almost a little bit sweeter than like a glazed donut, which they coat in sugar, and this is just like the sweetness is baked in, and then the filling just takes it up a little
dough.
bit. I love them.
I can't talk with my mouth.
No. No, but this is so exciting to finally be able to make them and have the finished product too.
Well, and I'm sort of a purist, but so I don't put anything else on top of them. But you can do, traditionally you could do like a crumb topping where you would mix a little butter and flour and sugar and sprinkle it on them and it would brown. Or chopped up nuts.
Okay.
But never frosting.
Never. Okay. No.
Never frosting.
That's a huge faux pas.
That is, you're not Czech when you
When you put frosting on it, and then there's no brown bottoms.
Oh, I know brown bottoms.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Now I know all the secrets. Well, thank you so much for sharing this with
welcome.
us.
This
is amazing.
Well,
and it's fun.
you...
And I have so many stories to share now, and hopefully a recipe that I can now keep passing down.
Well, I hope you make your Grandma Alma's.
Yeah.
We called her Grandma Oma.
Yep.
Yeah.
Great Grandma Alma.
Yeah. Or kolaches.
Yeah, I will. Thank
Perfect.
you. If you'd like to participate in the Heirloom Recipe Project, email us at heirloomrecipeproject@gmail.com.